Why don't we just kind of start off and tell everybody a little bit about yourself and stuff like that?
Okay. Yes, I was previously with the firm. I actually joined the firm while I was in officer training school with the Air Force.
Okay.
Just going back and forth, I had hung out with Bennett, Joel a couple of times, and then started with the firm, mostly coming to do Social Security, disability, some of the construction litigation, and some of the other litigation cases that we had. But in around 2016, I went active, did active duty orders, so that sent me down to Georgia. I was in Warner Robins for a few years, and then went to Montgomery, still on active orders with the military. And just recently, my wife retired, and so we moved back to Rock Hill. And I've been taking my own cases, just had my own firm going, and speaking with Joel and Bennett a few times, decided to come back and handle the Social Security disability cases here.
Gotcha. And what did you do for the Air Force?
I'm a JAG officer, so the military attorneys.
Okay. Can you kind of explain a little bit to people who may not understand? Because I had some friends from law school who did that, who went into JAG, but maybe just kind of explain what that entails. I mean, I'm sure most people have seen A Few Good Men or something like that.
Right.
But I'm sure not everything is very high-level court-martial. So maybe just explain kind of what you did in that position and some cool things that you did that you could tell us about or anything like that.
Okay. So, the position is the military attorney. So you go in as an officer. And like I said, I started off in officer training school in Montgomery, Alabama. Then you have to go to JAG school. So they teach you how to be a military attorney. And then you get your assignment, whichever base you're in. I was a reservist, so I was a JAG officer for a reserve base out of Seymour Johnson in Goldsboro, North Carolina. Okay. But also at the same time, as a reservist, you kind of backfill for the active duty. And that's what probably more people know about when you have court martials and discharge boards, the things that are actual litigation. But the other side of it is the advising commanders and the basic discipline of the military. So if a commander has a concern about really anything within his shop and wants to make sure that what they're doing is legal, then they'll go to JA. They always say that they have JAG on their speed dial. And in my position now, I'm the SJA for a unit that's out of Atlanta at Dobbins Air Reserve Base. And yeah, the commanders call all the time and they want to know, I had this person get arrested for a DUI, or I had this person who's, I don't know, just done something that's against the rules. The UCMJ, which is the military's, those are our criminal statutes.
Okay.
And then in the Air Force, we have an AFI, which are Air Force instructions. They're more of the, if you think of the administrative side versus the criminal side, but both are rules and regulations that airmen have to go by. And it's our job as JAG to interpret much of it.
Yeah. So if people don't understand, court-martial is just court, correct?
Yes, it's the criminal trial whenever someone has committed a crime in the Air Force or in the military. Then they can have a court-martial, and if they lose, then there's some sort of discipline up to being discharged out of the military. And if they win, then they just don't have the conviction. Okay. And it does have a federal conviction that goes with it. So it is not it's a big deal. So you don't want to take it lightly.
Yeah, I understand that. And so kind of just like the private sector of attorneys, there's different types of JAGs.
Correct.
So you could do prosecution or defense. On a criminal side, I know when I was doing family law that there are some JAGs that handle some family disputes amongst people who are staying on base and married and things like that. And then you said that there's obviously an advisory role too. So how did you kind of come to be in the Air Force? Just real briefly.
Briefly, I have a friend who he went through ROTC at Clemson. He was an officer in the Air Force, and he, on the day that I passed the bar exam, he came to me. He's not an attorney, but he just said, "It's a great job. You know, knowing what I enjoy doing." He said that I'd love to be a JAG officer. The respect and the position itself, great position, need good people to do it. So I looked into it, and maybe 2 or 3 years after that, I applied for the position and was selected. You have to actually apply for the JAG Corps and go through interviews and all this other stuff.
Yeah, like I said, I remember a few friends from law school that did the same thing. You know, we're not in ROTC in college and just decided to go after the fact. On the private sector side, what led you to Social Security Disability?
It was coming to this firm. It was a field that I had considered. I enjoy helping the clients because more times than not, there are people who cannot work. They need the help. They need most of the time the health insurance is the biggest thing that they're looking for, but also having a check that can, help them get through month to month because they're unable to work their job. That helps them out as well. But when I first came here, with this being a personal injury firm, there were a lot of people who had injuries that were so substantial from their car wreck or whatever the personal injury was that they were unable to work anymore. Yeah. And so it seemed like it'd be a good fit. There were, the cases would be here, and they were. So that's really how it started.
Gotcha. And there's some synergy there. I feel like, I've had several either personal injury accident claims or when I was doing workers' comp that the people ended up being permanently disabled afterwards. And so that is good. And obviously, you served your country, but at the same time, you've doubled down, I feel like, on the good lawyer mentality here of, using your training and your education to help people. And you did that serving your country as also serving your community and everything too, which is obviously something that was built into this firm from the very beginning. So